12 million less people are going to be receiving checks than under Donald Trump. And most of the people that's not going to receive checks are suburban voters. It's not like suburban voters won the Democrats the White House and then the Georgia election, which won them the Senate. It's not like that happened. So that made perfect political sense, giving those people that won you the White House and the Senate, not giving them a check.
Keep it 100, I be feeling like Campbell soup over white rice, baked chicken with the skin on, yeah, Lowry's with black pepper, I'm fully seasoned with laughter.
What's good, 100%ers? It's your boy Dre, and welcome to my channel. Keep it 100, Dre. So today what I'm going to talk about is the $1.9 trillion stimulus packet that just passed. I'm going to talk about exactly what's in it, what it means for you and people you know, and what it means for the Democrats in future elections going forward. So let's talk about what's in it. The stimulus bill, it includes $1,400 checks per individual for those making under $80K per year and $160K for couples. It includes $300 weekly unemployment plus up until September 6th. It includes a 15% increase in food stamp benefits, which will run through September. It also includes pandemic EBT through the summer for states where schools are closed due to the pandemic, unless the states opt out of it. $20 billion to state and local government to those who are back on rent and utility, and $10 billion for homeowners struggling with mortgage and utilities. It includes federal premium subsidies for the Affordable Care Act for 2 years to pay no more than 8.5% of your income towards coverage, which is down from 10% in the past. $15 billion for long-term low interest rates loans for small businesses. $25 billion for new grant programs for bars and restaurants mostly. And $7 billion more for the Paycheck Protection Program, and more nonprofits will qualify this time around. What it does not include, and these are the problems with the stimulus bill, is first off, it doesn't include a $15 minimum wage increase. So the current minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, which was passed back when George Bush was in office. So that will not be going up or increasing at all in this bill. 8 senators voted against it even being in the package in the first place. And Kamala Harris had the ability to overrule the Senate parliamentarian who said that it violates the Bird rule, but she chose not to, and we'll discuss that a bit more later. I discussed it in another video where I said if she doesn't overrule the Senate parliamentarian, because the Senate parliamentarian does not have any authority, does not have any power. It is an advisory position. The ultimate decision is in Kamala Harris's hands, and she chose not to raise the minimum wage because she didn't want to. We know that now because the bill passed. So a major issue with this bill, and this is very big, and it made no sense whatsoever policy wise, and just in terms of politics, it made no sense. So not only did Joe Biden lie, and the Democrats lied and said that the checks would be $2,000. That's how they ran, and that's how they won Georgia. That's how they won the Senate. They ran on giving $2,000 checks, not in addition to $1,400 plus up. They said that after they won the election. You can go watch my previous video. I'll post it in a link below. They said if you win $2,000, if we win the Senate, $2,000 checks will be sent out immediately. They did not say additional $1,400 to supplement the $600 already received, but that's another subject. But the thing that made zero sense whatsoever that the Democrats did is they limited who can get the $1,400 checks. So what they did is people making under $80K does not qualify sorry, people making over 80K does not qualify for the $1,400 checks. As a result, 12 million less people are going to be receiving checks than under Donald Trump. And most of the people that's not going to receive checks are suburban voters. It's not like suburban voters won the Democrats the White House and then the Georgia election, which won them the Senate. It's not like that happened. So that made perfect political sense, giving those people that won you the White House and the Senate, not giving them a check. Here's why it makes no sense. Most people are very apolitical. They vote Democrat, Republican, some don't vote at all, or some would vote based on, a lot of people vote based on their own economic interests. And let's say I'm one of those people who are apolitical. I'm not, but if I was, if I got money from Donald Trump, I would think like, oh, you know, Donald Trump, he gave me some money. He must be good. And then I'm expecting money from Joe Biden, especially if I'm struggling. I'm expecting some money from Joe Biden, then the stimulus check passed. I'm like, wait, Donald Trump gave me money and Joe Biden didn't. This guy is terrible. Why would I vote for him again? He promised to give me money and he lied. That's how the average apolitical person will think about it. He lied that he's going to give me money. Not just lied about giving $2,000 checks. They didn't give me money at all after I just voted to get you in office. We're the reason you won the White House. Black voters and suburban voters. They brought him over the edge. If not for black voters, the Democrats can never win. But if not for suburban voters, they would have lost the White House this time around. So you not only promised those voters $2,000 checks, which is the most of the 12 million people that you're going to exclude from getting this round of checks. So not only did you lie about $2,000 checks, you're not giving him money at all. That makes no sense politically. And the $300 additional dollars in weekly unemployment plus up, it was initially $400 in the House. And they negotiated against themselves down to $300. So you're giving the people less money again. Again, how does that make sense? It makes zero sense. It's a losing strategy. People are never going to be mad at getting more help when they're struggling. So you're going to give them less help when they're struggling? You think that's a politically smart move? It's not whatsoever. And this bill includes $2 billion to help people who are behind on rent and utilities, and $10 billion for people behind on their mortgage. I think that's $10 billion is half of the $20 billion for those behind on their utilities in their rent. So I think half of that $20 billion is going towards people behind on their mortgage. So $10 billion of that. So $10 billion towards rent, $10 billion towards people behind on their mortgage. I'm not sure how those numbers work out exactly, because back in September, people were behind $5,600 on average on rent and mortgage payments. And that was in September. October, November, December, January, February, March. That's 7 months ago. Wow, time is flying. 7 months ago, people were behind on average $5,600 on rent. So it's much more now. So I highly doubt $20 billion to state and local government is going to cover that, but I'm not a math surgeon, so I can't tell you exactly. Those numbers I'm sure will be out soon, and I will discuss them when they're out. But I highly doubt that is nearly enough to cover people that can't afford to pay rent. So if it's not enough to cover people that can't afford to pay rent, after this pandemic is over, after the eviction moratorium is up, if you're short on rent, you're still getting evicted. If you use, let's say, you're able to pay off $4,000 of the $5,600 you're behind, you think these landlords still won't evict you? They're legally allowed to once the eviction moratorium is up. So of course they will. So that's the Democrats, again, going with half measures and not doing enough. The Republicans being absolutely terrible, is not reason for the Democrats to do little to nothing to give you half measures. It's not an excuse. It can't happen. Right now, there's 500,000 homeless people in America. If the pandemic isn't properly responded to, it can become 40 million people. That's an 80 times increase. Can you imagine seeing 80 more homeless people for every one you used to see? That's impossible to imagine, but it's something that could possibly happen if the pandemic is not responded to sufficiently enough. And it seems like Democrats aren't willing to respond to it sufficiently enough. So if the Democrats don't respond sufficiently, they're going to lose a whole lot of voters. And they're almost guaranteed to get wiped out in the midterms, then possibly lose the White House in 2024. Because why would people vote for a party who made promises, had control of the House, they had control of the Senate, they had control of the White House, and then not deliver what they promised? They won't. So the last major failure of this bill is the provision with Obamacare, making sure that people are only paying 8.5% of their income for the next 2 years towards coverage rather than 10%. So why not Medicare for all? So there's a provision in Obamacare that allows you to provide Medicare for all to all during an emergency situation, during a pandemic, a global pandemic. So Joe Biden could have done that if he wanted to, but he absolutely didn't want to. He stated many times, he said if Medicare for all came to a vote on his desk, he would veto it. So he has no intention on ever having the people have Medicare for all because he's bought by the insurance companies. He's terrible. He's terrible. And look, I'm going to say this again because a lot of people, for the people in the back, just because I point out how terrible the Democrats are does not mean I'm a Republican. The Republicans are slightly worse, just slightly. If you want to see how I talk about how terrible the Democrats are, and they're not much different than Republicans, you could check out my other videos. That's not what this video is about. This video is about the COVID bill where the Democrats absolutely failed, and they're giving less money to people than Trump did. Donald Trump at one point, I believe he gave an additional $600 per week in unemployment plus up, and Democrats are doing $300. Why would people vote for the Democrats when Donald Trump gave them more money? It makes no sense. Like I said, most people are apolitical. They don't follow politics very closely. So those people who are apolitical, they know Donald Trump gave me money, Joe Biden didn't. Next time, if he runs in 2024, or if he endorses any Republicans in 2024, I'm voting for them. So that's the situation the Democrats put themselves in. When the 2022 midterms come around, they're going to get wiped out for not doing what they said they were going to do. Then when 2024 comes around, they're very vulnerable to lose the White House again to Donald Trump or whoever Republican runs. I said before that I don't think Donald Trump, if he runs in 2024, I don't think he can win again because how terrible his response was to COVID, because he lost the suburbs and then the Capitol building terrorist attack. I thought it was impossible for him to win again. But the Democrats, they're completely destroying my expectations on how terrible they could have been and how terrible they could have responded. And then there's a video of Kristen Sinema pretty much celebrating voting down the $15 minimum wage. People are going to remember that. And she's very likely going to lose either to a primary opponent or she's going to lose in a general election to a Republican. So that's the Democratic Party. They don't care just as much as the Republicans don't care, except the Republicans don't pretend that they care. Like I say in almost every video at this point, the Republicans tell you right to their face, they hate you, you suck, you're stupid, we hate minorities, we hate gays, we hate everything under the book. The Democrats, they say they love you, and stab you in the back. That's the difference between the parties, and the only difference. So that's all I gotta say for this video. If you like the content, please like and subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notifications so you know when I post videos in the future. So no word of the day for today. I just want to get this video out. So again, I appreciate you watching the video. 100% this. Peace.
Well, I've been stacking up. Nah, really that ain't accurate, cause I just spent my whole damn advance in the past couple months just to compensate for times we ain't have enough. Ooh.